Now each day we are getting closer and closer to the release of the brand new Zelda game. The title we have all been waiting for after the massive success of Breath of the Wild that catapulted the franchise to new heights. And now Nintendo has to once again prove to the world that they can make something truly amazing. However, when did this all start? How did this game evolve from just some extra ideas into a fully fledged sequel with so many things in it that it's almost crazy? Well, let's look into all of this. How did Tears of the Kingdom evolve in terms of design, gameplay, use, and story? Hey, psst! Be sure to check out wily.gg if you're in the market for any games, and use code WILY to get 5% off. Now let's continue with the video. Now all of this started a long time ago, a time when the golden age of Nintendo YouTubers truly began, 2017. As we all know, this is when the Nintendo Switch was released, which was a bit of a gamble for Nintendo. The Wii U was a flop after all, and this new console was their last attempt. Heck, they even made it with some old off-the-shelf parts from Nvidia. Normally, companies like PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo use special parts for their console, but this wasn't the case with the Switch, because after the Wii U, they didn't really have the money. That's why they went with the Nvidia Tegra X1, which was easily 2 to 3 years old at that point. And in order to lure people in, they decided to release a Zelda game together with the console, and it was a huge success. But before they even knew about this, they were already working on the next game after the production for Breath of the Wild concluded. Now I bet in the beginning, Nintendo was just experimenting with concepts. I mean, they didn't know if Breath of the Wild was gonna do well at all, and they had a lot of leftover ideas from that game, which they didn't use for the DLC. But quite quickly, it was clear that Breath of the Wild, as well as the Nintendo Switch, were selling like crazy. And so they decided to go for a special tactic with the new game that they had done before. As we all know, Ocarina of Time was a massive hit for the company, and literally changed the industry. Due to this, Nintendo wanted to make a sequel to the game, where they reused the assets, and so Majora's Mask was born. Now, as we all know, this was a genius move and led to one of the most unique games in the franchise. And if you look at Tears of the Kingdom, they are trying to do this once again, and they were going to use a lot of the crazy ideas that they had for Breath of the Wild. Now, during the 2019 E3 Nintendo Direct, it was announced that it would be a sequel to Breath of the Wild, and the idea of creating a direct sequel came from the fact that Eiji Aonuma wanted to revisit the same Hyrule while incorporating a new story and gameplay mechanics. Initially, new ideas were thought of for DLC, but evolved into a new game when too many were gathered. This is something that happens a lot. We saw this in the past as well, but back then, DLC wasn't a thing yet. And in the announcement trailer for Tears of the Kingdom, we could clearly see that this game was gonna be serious and dark. It shows Link and Princess Zelda exploring an unknown cave, and here they find the corpse of Ganondorf. And then he awakens, causing some sort of earthquake that leads to Hyrule Castle going up into the sky. All of this sets a dark and mysterious tone for the game. There were little hints for the story everywhere, and it was clear that they were going for a mature and dark timeline-esque setting. Heck, Aonuma even described later trailers as darker than Majora's Mask, and that the game is hella depressing. However, after this, there was a lot of silence. Most people expected this game to be released rather fast. I mean, it reuses a lot of assets, and usually this means that the game can be made quite quickly. For example, Phantom Hourglass was made in 2007, and 2 years later we got Spirit Tracks. Or A Link Between Worlds, which was made in 2013. And again, 2 years later we got Triforce Heroes. And then you have Ocarina of Time, which came out in 1998. And again, 2 years later, we got Majora's Mask. Now sure, Nintendo might want to take their time with this sequel, but still most people expected that it would take a maximum of 3 to 4 years. But we didn't hear anything for a long time. Well, until we got the announcement of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity on September 8, 2020. Here they said that Nintendo was still working on the game and that fans would have to wait before getting any news. And later, in a December interview, Nintendo of America president Doug Bowser added that the contents of the game would be shown as soon as they felt that they had enough to show. Now at this point, people understood why the game was taking so long. wrong. They were also working on a spin-off. But still, many wanted the sequel badly, me included. And after a long time, we finally got the second trailer and the first gameplay showcase, which was seen on June 15th, 2021, during the E3 Nintendo Direct. It featured a number of new abilities and the new world of Hyrule. And that wasn't all. They also said that the game would come out in 2022. Now this is when the hype was at its peak. Everyone saw the new stuff this game was offering, and one thing became clear. The Zelda team didn't just have a couple of ideas laying around. Oh no, they had loads of them, which you would have already known if you actually looked into the development of Breath of the Wild. Really, for that game they went with an anything goes approach. Anyone could share their ideas and they wanted to reinvent the franchise a bit. So they made a rocker Link, concept art where the world would be invaded by aliens, they wanted to bring back the Minish, they created enemies that looked like stuff from Dark Souls, and so much more. So really, it was clear that Nintendo was going sicko mode. They added new powers, alternate versions of enemies that work together now, a very mature story, and much more. Really, Nintendo was doing some crazy things, and it also seemed like they wanted to improve on certain flaws that Breath of the Wild had, like its lacking story. But then, all of us were flabbergasted by what Aonuma said on March 29th, 2022. The game was delayed. However, they did show off a short gameplay clip that showcased Link's new outfit and a heavily damaged Master Sword, which was obviously going to be very important in the game. Now at this point, people were devastated. They had no idea when the game was coming out, and so they were quite frustrated. The sequel was in development for more than 5 years now, and many Zelda fans were losing patience, which I kind of get. Nintendo was constantly luring us in, and then disappointed us by delaying the game or not showing anything. But then, it happened. On the 13th of September 2022, they revealed the name of the new game, and showed off more in a new trailer. And ever since then, the floodgates have been opened. We got art, trailers, special editions, press kits, and way more. And we could clearly see the influences from the scrapped ideas from Breath of the Wild, as well as other games that were incredibly popular at the time, like Elden Ring. So we could see that everything we expected was going to happen, and more. Some people thought this was just going to be DLC, but at this point, making this claim is impossible due to the amount of new stuff in the game. And now we just have to wait. In about 2 months, it will be out, and we can finally experience Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And in the meantime, be sure to check out some of my other Zelda Tears of the Kingdom videos. Thank you all so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed. If you want more, then tell me what I should do next. Yeah, just go to the comments and let me know what you want. Yes. I read comments, I use Big Eyeball to scan it like laser. And subscribe, click the bell button, leave a comment, like, do all the good stuff. I don't know, YouTube has many bells nowadays. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I thought I would do an evolution of for this, because it seemed like an interesting idea to toy around with. Like, kind of stretching, now that we're at the end of the run, looking at the whole timeline, how it all went. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, bye!